Six Podcast with your hosts, Larry Sazinski and Danny Waiter. Get ready for some action. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Pick Six Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Larry Sazinski.
And Danny Waiter.
And Week 7 is a finish, and we are approaching fastly to the midway point of the season already. And I'm already bumming because this season, not only has it been very weird, and it's going by too fast. Every year, it seems like every NFL season keeps going by faster and faster and faster. And it sucks because we're already at the halfway mark. Let's try that again. At the halfway mark of the 2019 NFL season. We're going to try and keep this short. We say this every time, but we always end up going an hour and a half. We're trying to keep it down to like 35, 40 minutes because Danny's got stuff to do. So, and as you can tell, I am actually here this time. I got some things going down right now, so I'm finally here, live-ish.
Alive, not alive.
I'm alive, not alive. Yeah, depends on what part you're talking about. But anyway, Week 7 is a wrap. As far as our picks go, I took this one 8 to 6, and Danny was 6 to 8 because we only had, for the first time, we were almost dead even on our picks this week, which was very surprising. There was only 2 differences in this week's differential, and I took both, shockingly, because what saved me was the Titans beating the Chargers. And I want to touch on that real quickly before we get into our picks for next week. Because holy, dude, that was a barn burner. I was on the edge of my seat through that game. I was getting nervous because, like I said, the Chargers were about ready to go up. They were on the goal line twice, and both times they went to booth review, and both times they were short, and it saved me. But here's the thing, though: if it was the other way around, and I'm not trying to, already stir the pot, but if it was the Lions, in this situation, it would have been the opposite. And that's these. I don't want to get into it because this time the Lions, they just played horrible. Yeah. They were downright horrible. And then you had Slay going out again, Harrison going out again, and now you trade away Quandre Diggs to the Seattle Seahawks for a 5th-round pick. You're already hurting in defense. So this is the defensive version of the Golden Tate situation last year. And this is really starting to bother me. You already got all these holes on defense now, and now you're going to freaking get rid of Quandre Diggs. And now you don't have a running game again because Kerryon Johnson is now on injured reserve. He's done for the year. And I'm about done. I don't know how much longer I can take. This is like being in kind of like an abusive relationship that you just don't have the balls to say, I'm done, I'm leaving you. I've been dealing with this for over 30 years, and I don't know what to do anymore with these guys. I'm about at the end of my rope with the Lions. I don't know how much longer I can hold on here. And seeing the way they performed in that second half was just unbelievably horrible. I almost had to I almost turned the game off because what's the point? I don't know what the hell is. I just don't know anymore. But the time is running out for me with the Lions. So I don't know. Well, I'm going to hand this over to Danny real quick to see if he's got anything to say about it.
All I want to say is that the 2 people that held out in the offseason are hurt. For the Lions, it's not halfway. It's Week 7. It's going to be Week 7 for them, yep. So the problem is that 2 of the best defensive players that we have held out, so they didn't get that. There's a reason that we have the off season. That is to train, that is to get ready, to get conditioned, and then When you get into the preseason, that's when you start practicing and you put the pads on because you've already conditioned. The fact of the matter is that Harrison Smith wanted, extra money. Darius Slay wanted extra money. They both, did deserve extra money, but they still had, I believe both of them had like another year or two on their contracts. So why they want to negotiate now, I have no clue. And, now Harrison has to, account for himself. He's saying, hey, it's on me. It's my fault. And it's like, yes, it is your fault because you held out for no reason, barely got more money. And now you look exhausted. You don't look anything like your dominant self. Same thing with Darius Slay. I mean, he's supposed to be locked down. Last year he may have had only 3 picks compared to the year before, and he had 8. But yet, he was still locked down last year. That's why he only had 3 picks, because they didn't throw to him. The 3 picks, he made plays on his own. This year, he's got 1 interception, and, it was a good play. But other than that, he doesn't look like himself because he held out for a contract in the offseason. Okay, and it's very important that you get as many reps as you can before the football season begins, because this is what happens. 2 best players held out, missed almost all the preseason, and now they're hurt. You have Mike Daniels, who's supposed to be really good, is out. He barely practiced in the offseason. Deshaun Hand has just been dealing with an elbow injury. He's going to be a good presence, but I say just let him sit the year. He's too good of a player to just throw in there and just risk injury. Allow him to just continue, healing. And then, that game was just horrible. I mean, the offense was amazing. I mean, yes, the running game wasn't quite there, but it's like that defense is stingy on both areas, okay? They are stingy with pass offense and rush offense. And yet, Stafford connected with Jones for 4 touchdowns. Okay? 4 touchdown passes. He had an interception. But, 4 touchdown passes. Okay, he did what he needed to do. He had 350 yards, I believe. He spread it all around. And it's just, that was a game where the defense, that was supposed to be their strong suit, let them down.
And that is absolutely correct, sir. That was one thing. That was my only good takeaway from last week's game was Marvin Jones with the 4 touchdowns. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think they said during the game that that's the first Lions receiver, or I think maybe in the NFL, that has caught 4 touchdowns in one game since 1950. I think it was, or something like. There was some fact, and I forgot about what it was, but
I think it was 2. I have to look it up because I know what you're talking about, but Marvin Jones record. Let's see what it comes up as. Marvin Jones sets Lions record, joins select NFL company with another 4 TD catch day. Let's see. Okay. Jones caught 4 touchdown passes, tying a team record that has stood since 1950 with Cloyce Box. Oh, I didn't I didn't realize he dropped the 5th.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. Which could have helped him tie the league record. Jerry Rice did it in 1990. Kellen Winslow did it in 1981, and Bob Shaw did it in 1950. Are the only players in NFL history with 5 touchdown catches in a game. seeing Jerry Rice on there, he's just phenomenal. But yeah, Marvin Jones, he's not a barn burner, and he's not the best receiver in the league, but for some reason he randomly shows that he can be the best receiver in the league. Like last game, 4 touchdown catches in one game. Only a couple other players have done that before. Okay? And he's done it twice in his career now. So, I'm happy we have him, but yeah, that defense is just rough.
Yes, very rough. And also on top of that, in the same game, Matthew Stafford also broke a record.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we forgot about that one too. For all you people that talk shit about Matthew Stafford, I think they talk shit about Matthew Stafford because he's with the Lions. Yeah. Now, if Matthew Stafford was on the Patriots, he'd be king shit.
Oh my gosh.
Everybody be praising Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford is such an underrated quarterback. Matthew Stafford has broke Matt Ryan's record to become the first quarterback to reach 40,000 career passing yards in 10 seasons. So, I mean, how can people out there hate on Matthew Stafford? Yeah. I mean, Jesus, really? I mean, put him in another uniform and he's a god. Put him in a Lions uniform, he's a piece of shit, right? That's what it boils down to. If Matthew Stafford was in any other jersey, he'd be a god, the best quarterback in the league. So, all you people that talk bad about Matthew Stafford, kiss my ass. I love Matthew Stafford. I've always loved Matthew Stafford. But last year, I got to bring back last year because there was some things that really pissed me off. I even told Danny this many times. That Matthew Stafford's ruining the season and all this, but it came out at the beginning of training camp and all that this year that he played most of the season with a messed up back. So that kind of evens it out for me to where I really can't blame him because Matthew Stafford, I can't say anything bad about the guy. I mean, especially with everything that he's gone through in his personal life with his wife with the brain tumor and all this other crap that was going on, and look at what he's doing now.
I know,
for I mean, not only for the team, but him personally. I mean, I don't know. I like this guy, but I think it's time, and I hate to say it, I think it's time for Matthew Stafford to move on. It's been 10 years. You've only made it to the playoffs 3 times. It's time to move on. You need to go somewhere else, Matthew. I hate to say that because we're both Lions fans. Well, more you than me, but yeah, it's time for him to get a ring. He's overdue, way overdue for a ring, and it's not going to be done in Detroit, and it never will. So, I mean, we're trying to keep it short, but here we are already. That'll be a topic for another podcast. I mean, do you have anything else to add on the game, or we just move on?
I just wanted to say that I do agree with you that if Matthew Stafford was on any other team, he would honestly, literally any other team other than the Chargers. The Chargers seem to be a watered-down version of us. Okay? And no, I see Stafford, if he went to any other team, he would probably have as many Super Bowls as Tom Brady. Just by himself with the talent that he has. Because everyone wants to complain that he can't win games or, he has so much talent around him. How much more talent does he need? And it's like, you don't realize that he is, I think there's 1 or 2 other quarterbacks that have been in the league either as long or longer than him that have been sacked as much or more than him. Okay? Think about that, okay? That's not because of him. That's because he has to try to get the ball out in like 0.5 seconds. Okay, he is always running for his life. He is always having to try to figure out what he can do in a split second. And if his receivers are covered, what is he supposed to do? His offensive line is supposed to be there for him. People want to talk about Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers wouldn't be able to win with the Lions. Okay, the thing about Aaron Rodgers is that he can throw dimes, of course, and he can run, yeah, but he still has a good offensive line. Like he's got I think it was a left tackle, very good actor as well, great actor. I applaud him so much. Oh, he looked great in that game against Detroit. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. Oh, the way he put his head back and just, oh, he grabbed my face mask. Oh, dear Lord, he's in my chest. Oh, it's my face mask. Oh, it was great. And, Stafford, he's got Frank Ragnow, right now, which he's phenomenal. He hasn't allowed one sack yet. And that's how he was in college, too, as a center. He didn't allow a sack at all in college, and he hasn't allowed a sack as a center in the NFL as well. He let a couple go last year because he was the left guard, but he's playing a different position. That's why. But anyway, that's all I have to say. Without Stafford, the Lions don't win more than one game.
No, the Lions can't. No, the Lions exactly. The Lions cannot win without Matthew Stafford, and it's always been that way, and it's always going to be that way. And now you're going to be hurt even more now that Kerryon Johnson's on injured reserve, and you already let C.J. Anderson go, which was a stupid move. But I mean, you got Johnson. I forget his first name, but we got Ty Johnson, and J.D. McKissick, who he's not that bad, but he's just not a Kerryon Johnson. This is where C.J. Anderson would have helped out. And I've mentioned this before in previous podcasts, that if I called it, if Kerryon Johnson goes down with an injury, you don't have a running game, and now we're going to be back to square one on our running game. You got rid of Zach Zenner, which would have helped out majorly now, but now he's with the Saints, which he actually did a good job. He had a couple touches, and with Alvin Kamara out. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to watch the whole game, so I really wasn't able to pay attention to see how many touches that Zach Zenner actually did get. But for everything that he did, that from what I saw, it was amazing. And this Lions front office gets rid of these players that they shouldn't be getting rid of. I mean, not because they're just good athletes. It's just they can help when they're needed. And now you don't have that option. Ty Johnson isn't all that great. J.D. McKissick, I think, is better.
I just want to cut in. I was looking up Zach Zenner, and apparently, a few hours ago, the Saints release running back Zach Zenner.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So, well, hey, Lions are in the market. Zach Zenner worked out to still play for the Lions. I understand what you said earlier in the podcast, why would he want to go back? But also got to understand, if you're a football player, you're going to want to play football wherever you can play football. And he could be a superstar. The Lions never really gave him that chance to just be that workhorse, which I think they should have always just kept with him. But, I think if the Lions called and said, hey, do you want to play for us? I think he would still say yes because, he's been there for so many years. And, apparently, like you said, he did pretty well with the Saints, and yet they dropped him. Which, I don't know why they would do that. They must have seen something, but... maybe we see him back with the Lions.
Well, the only reason I can think of is the fact that Alvin Kamara is going to be back. So there's really no need for him to be there because they need to get a tight end. Oh, and that's another thing I want to touch on too. As of right now, Drew Brees is slated to return Sunday, so that's going to move. What they're planning on doing is they're going to have Teddy Bridgewater start, but Drew Brees will be the backup because that'll move. Oh God, I'm blanking again. Um, the other quarterback, the third string for the Saints.
Hill.
Yeah, Taysom Hill, because they're going to move Taysom Hill to tight end. So that's their game plan. I don't know. Ty, but Taysom Hill is one of those multi positional players who can do anything. I still hats off to Teddy Bridgewater for going 5-0, which is very surprising. But yeah, Taysom Hill. But that's their game plan. I don't know if they're going to do that, but that's why that's going to free up Zach Zenner. But as far as Zach Zenner goes, I would say no. The Lions cut him 3 times in 2 seasons. I would never give him another. I would never give the Lions another chance. If you cut me 3 times in 2 seasons, there's no way in hell I'm coming back to you. No way. You couldn't keep me the first 3 times. What makes you think I'm going to come back for a 4th? No, I don't think so. Kiss off. Because as forementioned before, he's trying to become a doctor. So I don't know if I can't see him going back to Detroit. Just for what? The rest of the season, and then the offseason cut him again for the 4th time? No. I would have been super upset if I was Zach Zenner when the Lions released him for the 3rd time. And look, he was sitting out 6 weeks of the regular season. Nobody picked him up, which I don't know why, because he is a phenomenal running back and he is a good blocker. So I don't know. I mean, if Zenner does come back, I don't have a problem with that. But he would have to be your starting running back. Mm-hmm. If Zenner could come back to the Lions and they start him as the starting running back, you can still get a 100-yard rusher because he's just built like a brick shithouse, and he can just run. He reminds me of a modern-day Christian Okoye. For all you younger folks out there that don't know who Christian Okoye is, Christian Okoye was a running back for the Kansas City Chiefs in the early 90s. And he was a beast. He had running back speed, but the size of a linebacker. He just ran through everybody. And that's what I see Zenner being. But they're dicking him around, and I don't like it. If they end up going to pick Zenner back up yet again, you're gonna have to keep him. Enough of this back and forth shit. I'm getting sick and tired of seeing all these people let go. They come back, let go, come back, let go, come back. That's not the way you win football. That's not the way you do it. And then again, the whole topper is this whole Quandre Diggs situation. But now Quandre Diggs is going to be reunited with Ziggy Ansah, who also again is injured again. I mean, that was a good move there. I was happy to see him go. He's useless. He doesn't have any talent. He has one little ache. Oh. And me and Danny talked about this after we got done with last week's podcast, that this NFL nowadays are a bunch of greedy, whiny babies that don't play for the love of the game anymore. There's a select few. That are still in it for the game. I mean, Matthew Stafford's one of them. Travis Kelce's one of them. I don't get it anymore. Everybody's become money hungry. I'm sorry to use my language, but I have been trying to curb it. But there's just certain things that have been setting me off. It's like these guys are just turning into money hungry pussies, basically. They might as well turn this into the NFFL, the National Flag Football League. Every little thing they're going to bitch and cry about instead of just sucking it up. The founding fathers of this game are probably rolling over in their graves right now, wondering what happened to our sport. You know, I grew up on the roughneck, bust 'em up football. You know, I'm used to seeing the chop blocks and the clotheslines and those hard hits that'll knock you out, which to a point I can understand. Safety is a major issue. I don't have a problem with players being safe. I mean, that's the whole point. It's a full contact sport. You're going to get hurt. Injuries are a part of professional sports, and they always have. No matter what sport it is, you're going to get hurt. But it's just the way that they have to. There has to be something here because I'm sorry. I have to. Oh, here we go again. I'm dragging on to another fucking subject. Another issue that I'm having is, like I said, not only the hurdling that's been going on lately, the leaping up and flipping upside. Again, I mention this on every podcast now because it's starting to become ridiculous. You guys got to knock that off. Like I said, I'll bring it up again. Don Beebe, 1992 in the Buffalo Bills Cleveland Browns game. He decided to jump up to catch and jump up and jump up again. It got flipped upside down, landed straight on his head. Luckily, he walked. He got up and walked away from that. Go on YouTube and search Don Beebe injury. His whole body was 90 degrees and his head slamming flat on the ground. And he got up and walked, luckily. I mean, but another major issue that I have is the helmet-to-helmet thing. That is starting to get on my nerves. Not because of the concussions or getting hurt. I understand that. But if you're a linebacker or a cornerback and you're in the air and you're not aiming, you're just trying to do your job to tackle a receiver or a running back, whatever. If you're already in midair, you can't change your direction. You're not an airplane. So if you end up hitting his helmet, that's not your fault. Why are you going to get penalized for something that's not your fault? If you're already in the air, there's nothing you can do about it. Yep. You can't swim. You can't fly to another direction to dodge a player. Nope. There's nothing you can do about it, and they need to take a look at that bullshit because that's getting on my nerves too. A hit is a hit, but if it's preemptive, if you're on the ground and you're running towards somebody and you go helmet to helmet, yeah, then I can see that. But if you're horizontal and you're going in on somebody, there's nothing you can do about it. I don't know. I think it's ridiculous. Do you have anything to say about this, Danny?
I looked up the Don Beebe thing real quick, and he did have a doinker. I'm making light of it, just because it is something that is very serious, and when you leave your feet, even if you just kind of like, if you jump, there's no force that is hitting you. When you land, there is something called earth. So when you jump up into the air, of course you're going to be in the air, but you got to come back down. And the fact is, the denser the object, the faster it's going to fall, and the more of an impact it's going to make. And the fact is, the human body is not meant to jump up and then land back down safely. It's really not meant for that. Yes, jumping, but why are we jumping over people? Why? Like, I understand hurdling, I get it, but jumping over people? Like, this person's standing straight up and you're going to try to jump over them? No. You hurdle them if they're going for your legs. That's what a hurdle is. You're hurdling over them. These people are just trying to high step right over people. And it's like, that's not good, because the problem is that in the air, you can't control your body weight. You can't control how or where you land. You put your arm out, yeah, your arm's going to hit first, but like, you don't know if your elbow's going to snap, if your wrist is going to snap. And unfortunately, we had that big scare with TJ Hawkinson. He's okay now, but just hopefully that's a lesson to everybody in the NFL. And now I think would be a good time to get into our picks, just because that usually takes a minute. And and then probably just end the podcast off with that. So we'll go ahead and figure out Larry's picks.
All right, before we get into that, though, I on a final note of the jumping thing, they need to look at this and they need to make that a penalty. They need to throw a flag on that because something's got to give. They were starting to do that earlier on in the season with the hurdling. There was a game, I don't remember who it was, but there was a game I was watching. I don't remember what game it was. I think it was week 2 or week 3. Somebody hurdled and they got flagged for it. I don't remember what it was or who it was, what team it was. I don't remember, but somebody hurdled and they got flagged for it. That's what they need to do with the jumping situation. Because again, like I said, maybe we can do that. Maybe we can set up a link on our page with this episode with the Don Bebe incident to show everybody what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it should be able to.
So we're going to do that to check that out because I saw it as it happened. And I was like, oh my God, how did he get up? But yeah, that's definitely a thing. Yeah, we'll put a link on the bottom of this episode, the Don Bebe injury, and to show you what we're all talking about because it was still to this day. This was, like I said, this was 30 some years ago, and oh my God, it still sticks in my mind. It was just, oh my God, it was one of the most horrific things. I don't know how he got up. He got up. He was normal. He was fine. He was normal. He got up, luckily. But yeah, like I said, the NFL needs to look at this jumping thing and they need to make it a personal, personal foul, or I don't know. I don't know what they would consider it, but it needs to be at least an automatic first down. Or not an automatic first down. I mean, even on both sides of the ball, on defense too. Defense hurdles too. But there needs to be some kind of resolution to this issue. I mean, I'm not trying to sound contradictive, but I mean, this is just the way I was raised. I was raised on smash mouth football. I was raised on clotheslining and ripping heads off, and just to see it today the way it is, it's just not right. But that's just me. I don't know. But anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. We're going to put the Don Bebe incident on this podcast so you can see what we're talking about. And yeah, like I said, something needs to be done about the hurdling or the jump. Well, not really hurdling, but the jumping. Yeah, that's because no, I'm done. I got to stop. So we're going to go to our week 8 picks for this week. And I brought up the NFL mobile app. They don't have any facts this time for this week. I don't know why. So so that'll kind of speed it up a little bit because there's nothing to add to these games. So first up, we're going to start with the Giants at the Lions. I've already made my point clear. Lions, they're in trouble again every season. So I'm going with the Giants over the Lions.
Man, that's a tough one, but I'm gonna still pick the Lions. One, just because you didn't, so I'll pick them. And two, I don't know. I'm just picking them really because you're not picking them, and we don't. Okay, the thing is that we just don't know anything about any of the teams in the NFL. Like the Eagles, they beat the Packers, and yet the Packers have beat everybody else. The Lions, the Eagles have beat everyone in the NFC North except for the Lions. Okay, the Lions beat them. And yet the Packers beat the Cowboys. But yet the Cowboys beat the Eagles. But yet the 49ers almost lost to the Redskins. There's I don't understand this season. So any pick could go anyway, so I picked the Lions.
No, you're picking the Lions because you love the Lions and you'll never go against them ever. That's all I got to say about that. Not ever have I ever seen you go against the Lions no matter what.
I almost did against the Chiefs. Go Lions.
Jesus Christ. But you bring up the San Francisco game, and I've messaged Danny because I was looking at the tickers on the bottom, like 9-0. What the hell? But there's an out on this one. The reason why it was only 9-0, that damn field was a swimming pool because of all the rain that was going on. So it's not that they barely won the game. It's just it was a swamp. I mean, there. I didn't know that until I was watching the highlights. I'm like, oh, that explains why. So yeah, okay. Next up, we have the Redskins and the Vikings. These Minnesota Vikings are coming out of nowhere now, too, all of a sudden. They're starting to play some serious football. I think the whole Stephon Diggs thing is finally starting to sink in, and ever since then, they've been cranking it up. So I'm going with the Vikings over the Redskins at home.
I'm picking the Vikings as well. Because the Redskins just, like you said, it was a downpour and a slosh fest, a big old swamp. They still played well, though, in the conditions, because at that point, all the talent goes out, and that's where, all the willpower goes in. But I'm picking the Vikings because Dalvin Cook, as I always knew, even though he got injured his rookie year, he is going to be a great running back. Okay, and I know they're a division rival, but you got to give credit where credit is due. Uh, Kirk Cousins, for some reason, knows how to throw a football now. And it's funny. I saw a meme on Facebook that said, if I had $1 for every time Kirk Cousins missed a Minnesota Vikings receiver, I would be paid $83 million a year as well. I was like, man, it's funny. But no, I like Kirk Cousins. He's a Michigan State guy, and it's nice to see him doing well. But yeah, I have the Vikings winning this game because Dalvin Cook. It's so hard to beat a team that just runs it down your throat.
Absolutely. Like I said, man, I don't know where they're coming from. Next up, we have the Broncos and the AFC South leaders. I want to do the introduction right. The Broncos and the Colts. That's right, the first place Colts, who just mind melded everybody. Jacoby Brissett is for real. And my God, I cannot apologize enough for the shit we talked about in our very first episode about how they weren't going to be shit. Jacoby Brissett is the man. I'm digging this Colts team. This Colts team is for real, so I'm going Colts over the Broncos.
I'm going to pick the Colts. I want to pick the Broncos because for some reason, also, Joe Flacco wants to know how to throw a football as well. So, they beat a team they shouldn't have beat at all. And I'm going to pick the Colts just because, like Larry said, at the beginning of the podcast, we just ripped on Jacoby Brissett, and, he's tearing up the league right now. Maybe not really stats-wise, but, winning games, he's winning games. So, kudos to him.
Absolutely. Next up, we have the Broncos at the Titans. That's what I said, the Bucks. I said the Bucks. The Bucks. I don't like saying Buccaneers. I like the Bucks for some reason. I don't know why. I even write it down as Bucks. I don't know why. Maybe it's shorter and I'm too lazy to write out Buccaneers. But anyway, we have the Buccaneers and the Titans. I don't want to say it was a fluke with last week's Titans-Chargers game. The Titans defense stopped them twice at the end zone. They reviewed it both times and they never made. I just don't know about this Titans team. I really don't. I don't want to say it's a fluke, but I think their defense did one hell of a job stopping the Chargers. I want to say San Diego, the Chargers last week. So I'm gonna continue on. I'm gonna continue with the ball. I'm taking the Titans over the Bucks.
I'm picking the Buccaneers because, the Titans made a questionable move on benching Marcus Mariota in favor of Ryan Tannehill. They're quarterbacks with very similar, Oh my goodness, I just like the way they play. They're very similar in the way they play. There's another word for it, but it won't come to mind. But anyway, so and Ryan Tannehill is older, so wouldn't you want the younger version of that? I mean, I guess veteran leadership, but he didn't do anything with the Dolphins, so I can't pick the Titans because I think they made a bad move. Uh, Philip Rivers, he's a really good player, but he's definitely not clutch. Or else he would have won a few Super Bowls because he's had every chance. I mean, he even had LaDainian Tomlinson, but I give it to the Buccaneers because I think overall they're a better team.
Even though you don't trust Jameis Winston. Okay. Tannehill stepped it up regardless. They won the game. That's the bottom line. And here's a shocker. The 3-game win streak Cardinals, which where like I said, where are all these guys freaking coming from now all of a sudden? The now 3-1 Cardinals, who now have a better record than the Lions, against the New Orleans Saints. This might actually be one hell of a game. I might actually make this my game to watch due to the fact that the Arizona Cardinals, 3-game win streak. But they're not going to be tough enough to beat the Saints, especially if Drew Brees is the starter. Won't know yet, but yeah, it's the Saints all the way for me. But I don't want to eat these words, but gotta watch them Cardinals.
I'm picking the Cardinals.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I'm not a fanboy of the Saints as you, so you have the biased view on the Saints, and you do,
So
just like I have the biased on the Lions. I say it. I say all the time, like I try not to be biased, but I'm a Lions fan. Anyway, I'm picking the Cardinals because they sucked the first 4 games of the year. And then, like you said, they just won 3 games in a row, and they have looked exactly like they were proclaiming themselves to be at the beginning of the year. I mean, a 3-game win streak, it doesn't matter if it's like bad teams. It still makes you look good, especially if you're winning by like a lot, which they have been the past 3 games. So I'm going to give it to the Cardinals, not because I like Kyler Murray, because I like how everyone's playing.
Oh, I'm not gonna argue with you on there. I mean, especially with how short this season is, winning 3 games in a row is a big deal. I mean, this decides whether you go to the postseason or not. I mean, just thinking about Arizona and playoffs, holy shit, that'd be like the first time since 2004 when Kurt Warner was their quarterback and they won. Oh, I know. It's not that I'm biased. It's that the Saints are my team. I mean, because they have always been my team ever since I was, a kid. It's not being biased. It's just the Saints are a better team. They are more established than the Arizona Cardinals are. And especially if Drew Brees comes back, it's just a lock. But my question, are you going to make that your upset? Yeah. Okay. That's interesting. I was not expecting you to go there. So Danny's gonna make that his upset game. I really haven't decided yet on mine yet. I don't know. I don't think I have one as of right now. I might not. So who knows? Next up, we have the Cincinnati Bengals and the LA Rams. The LA Rams in disarray. They're falling apart at the wayside. But again, they are not weaker than the Cincinnati Bengals, who are still undefeated or unwinnable this season. I think. Yep, they are still defeated. We talked about it a little bit on last week about the contender pretender type deal. I'm not digging the Rams right now. I don't know what's going on. I don't know, but I'm not taking the Bengals. I'm taking the Rams, but it's just I I don't know what's going on with the Rams. I really don't. They're just, again, same team, same coach, same staff, but you're not performing anymore. I don't know what your deal is, guys. Where's the 7-1 Rams that we all came to despise last year because of the whole Saints game too? But I don't know. But yeah, I'm still taking the Rams over the Bengals. Not happening.
I'm picking the Rams. I mean, you can't pick the Bengals. You just can't. They're probably going to be 0-16. Dolphins are going to be 0-16. By the way, when we get to the Dolphins, I'm already picking against the Dolphins. So, Bengals 0-16 all year. I don't care. Dolphins 0-16 all year. Those are my picks already for those two teams.
Well, unfortunately, it's not going to be that way because I already mentioned it to you that the Bengals and the Dolphins play each other on December 2nd.
They can tie.
They can tie. I don't know.
The first defeated teams to ever tie. The first two teams to ever go defeated in a season at the same time.
Man, that'd be amazing though. I would love to see that. I don't know what happened, and did Nick Foles end up going on injured reserve? I'm not sure if he did or not. I want you to look that up for me because that's going to all play in the balance of what's going on in this next game the next game that's up. Because I don't remember if they put him on injured reserve or not. Because I've been looking at every Saturday they put up a list on the NFL mobile app of the injuries for each team for each game, and Nick Foles is not on that list anymore.
No, they're going to gradually.
I don't know if he's on injured reserve or if he's back because he totally disappeared off the injured list, off the out list, off the questionable list. So is he back? Or is he not back? Is he on injured reserve or is he not on injured reserve? I have been able to find absolutely nothing on Nick Foles.
They are gradually bringing him back.
Okay, well, so he's not in yet. We still got Gardner Minshew.
Yeah, no, Nick Foles is just taking his time.
Okay, well, I just wanted to make sure because, like I said, I haven't found no news on Nick Foles at all, so I wasn't sure what was going on. But this is going to be my game to watch. The Jets and the Jaguars. Sam Darnold and Gardner Minshew. That's going to be a very interesting game. And I'm just still so depressed over that total destruction from the Patriots. That was just so depressing because we were both hoping that the Jets could actually pull off the upset of the century with Sam Darnold being back. And just that role they had 2 weeks ago. I'm like, they can carry this momentum and play against the Patriots and beat the Patriots to making them 6-1. Nope, it didn't work out at all. But I'm giving them another chance. I'm very hopeful for these guys now that Sam Darnold's back. I'm going with the Jets over the Jaguars.
I'm going with the Jets as well. I mean, with the Patriots game, 33-0, that's a blowout, but that's a testament to their defense because almost all of those points, except for I think, let's see, Sony Michel had 2 rushing touchdowns, but he only had them at the end zone. And Tom Brady played like crap. 1 touchdown, 1 interception, only 100-something passing yards. The rest of the points were from field goals. And then the 2 rushing touchdowns were just, goal line touchdowns. So kudos to the Jets defense for making sure it wasn't a blowout. And so I'm picking the Jets. But Dolphins, just come over for some hot chocolate.
Oh, for God's sakes. Well, there is no Dolphins because they are. Never mind. I thought they were on a bye week. I don't know why. Next up, we have the Chargers and the Bears. Both teams they're sucking hind tit either way you look at it. Even with Mitchell Trubisky back, he played like garbage. Yeah. And we've already covered the Chargers from last week's game against the Titans. So, in my opinion, this is a throwaway game for me. But I'm sticking with the Chargers mainly to the fact that the Bears are in the NFC North, and I despise almost everybody in the NFC North. So I'm going Chargers over Bears just because of that.
Chargers, because the Bears, they don't have any weapons on offense. Mitchell Trubisky is not a good quarterback. He's the type of quarterback to be like a Teddy Bridgewater, where he wins games by managing it, but you know, Nagy wants him to make the bomb down the field, or you know, uh, just basically be the guy that does it all, and he's not. He's not that guy. He's athletic, but he'd probably be a pretty good slot receiver. Well, not slot, but like maybe a wideout or something. But like as a quarterback, no. So I picked the Chargers because Phillip Rivers is definitely a much better quarterback. They have offensive weapons for the Chargers, and their defense will stop Trubisky. Trubisky in that 12-4 season last year was just a fluke.
Yeah, and as I've mentioned before, I want to say it was either the first or second show that we did. Mitchell, this is another situation. Mitchell Trubisky's on the wrong team. He's another one of those quarterbacks that can become such an elite force, but he's just with the wrong team. Now, if he was with somebody, let's say, like the Buccaneers, or somebody like the Raiders, or hell, even someone like Miami, because Miami needs the help. We already know that. But like I said, though, I mean, if you put a player in a different uniform, a different coaching staff, different targets to work with, you have the potential of being great. Mitchell Trubisky is one of those guys. If you put him on another team who are pretty much well rounded, Mitchell Trubisky could be a stud. He just doesn't fit in with Chicago. And I agree. Last year's 12-4 was a fluke. Next up, I actually might make this one my game to watch. I forgot about this one. An NFC versus AFC matchup. The Philadelphia Eagles at the Buffalo Bills. Ooh, that is going to be a matchup. And I called this. The Buffalo Bills. You're going to watch the Buffalo Bills. And yes, sir. Now, if someone can just dethrone the Patriots for 2 or 3 games, Buffalo Bills would be on top. The Buffalo Bills are right there, 1 game behind the Patriots right now. 5-1. The Bills are the real deal. I'm loving these guys. It's about time. I'm going Bills over Eagles in a close one.
I'm going to pick Bills as well because, like I said before, the Eagles are inconsistent. They beat the Packers, who, for right now, everyone is like bending over and allowing Aaron Rodgers to like jam right in, which no, the Packers are not that great. They're not a great team. They're not a good team. They're a decent team. That's what they are. But anyway, I picked the Bills because the Eagles, it's another one of those teams that, they lose to who they shouldn't and they win against who they shouldn't. So I got the Bills.
Yeah, but that's also the same way with the friggin' Lions, too. It's getting ridiculous. But anyway, moving on to the next game, the Seahawks and the Falcons. Throwaway game. Easy decision. The Seahawks hands down. Falcons ain't got it. They're just, and it makes me sad. I miss the Falcons of old. I don't know what to do anymore with the Falcons. I was a big fan. Again, I've mentioned it before, but they just don't have it. I don't know. I don't know where the problem is here. I mean, their defense is just horrible. This is like the NFC Dolphins, really, in my opinion. Seriously, I don't know what it is, but it's Seahawks, Falcons all the way.
Seahawks, because the Falcons' defense is atrocious. It's horrible. And then because of the defense, the offense is starting to sputter as well. Julio had a big game against Jalen Ramsey for the first time in their career. Jalen Ramsey, the self-proclaimed best cornerback in the league, goes up against Julio Jones, who is like top 3, and gets manhandled. So I want to cheer for the Falcons because I got a buddy at work that loves them, but like he was saying, their defense is just really bad. So I definitely have the Seahawks winning this one.
Yeah, like I said, this is going to be an interesting scenario due to the fact that is now October 22nd today, right? Today's the 22nd or the 23rd? Oh, well, technically now it's the 23rd. So you have 5 days until the trade deadline. People are going to go. And I think we're going to end up seeing a lot of these teams that are struggling right now get rid of a lot of players to other shitty teams. So I think the Dolphins might end up getting some good ass players if they can before this trade deadline on the 28th. I'm curious for this to see what happens by the trade deadline because I think we're going to be seeing a lot of moves that we probably wouldn't have expected to see. Like it already started with today when I sent you the screenshot of the Quandre Diggs trade for a draft pick, a 5th round draft pick. He's worth more than that. The Seahawks got a good deal there, but it's going to be very interesting to see what's going to happen by the 28th of October by 4 p.m. So I'm almost excited for this as I was for free agency to open up at the beginning of the off season. So this is going to be very interesting to see who makes moves and who doesn't. I want to save topics for that on our next episode. Yeah. Oh, we can't. Damn it, we can't because the trade deadline would have passed for our next episode. Hypotheticals, yeah. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be very interesting. I think we're going to be seeing a lot of moves here because there's a lot of teams out there that definitely need some help. So we'll see what happens. I think this is going to be a very exciting trade deadline. So, it's going to be amazing. Next up, we have the Panthers and the Niners. There is no doubt in my mind that out of anybody in the NFL right now, because I'm not talking about the Patriots because they can still suck hind tit. I don't care. They don't exist to me. I think the San Francisco 49ers have a legitimate shot at going 16-0. I really believe that. These guys are just amazing. Will I say Super Bowl champions? It's a good possibility. And I would love to see that because it hasn't been done since the 90s. Seeing Steve Young was the last time I saw that. So they're in due too. But I'm going the Niners over the Panthers. Absolutely.
I'm going Niners as well. From the very beginning, I knew the 49ers had something special, and they just keep tearing it up. I mean, there was only one legitimate game where it was close, and that was against the Steelers for some reason. But other than that, it's been blowouts. Even the slosh fest, 9-0. Like, if it wasn't for that, they probably would have blown the Redskins out too. I mean, they're just a huge powerhouse that people are talking about, but they're not getting the recognition they deserve. Man, there was something else I wanted to say about it too. But who are they facing? The thing about the Panthers is that Kyle Allen is just he's not throwing up like superstar statistics.
He's just throwing up.
Yeah, well, no, he's winning games. He's doing what Cam Newton couldn't do. Right. Let me rush for 1,000 yards in the season. Let me throw for 4,000 in the season at the same time, but yet we still can't win. The thing with Kyle, I think Kyle Allen has that starting job, but that's for another time. I might do a video tomorrow about stuff, but regardless, I have the 49ers because they're probably the best team in the league right now.
I have to 100% agree. And like I said, we were both in agreement when you made that statement. I mean, just signing Nick Bosa alone in the draft was like, oh, the Niners ain't messing around this year. And, oh, gee, and Garoppolo, of all people. Garoppolo, who not last year was one of the ranked at the bottom 30 of NFL quarterbacks. I think it was ranked 30th or 31st in the NFL. Look at these guys now. Undefeated. Unstoppable. I love this team. Moving on. Fucking washout. Cleveland Browns and the New England Patriots. This is another reason why the Patriots always win, because they don't get anybody good to play. The Patriots have the easiest freaking schedule in the league, as always, and I'm getting sick and tired of it. So unfortunately, I have to pick the Patriots again because they just won't freaking go away. I would love to see, for the first 4 games of the season, I want to see the Patriots play the Niners, play the Bills, play the Saints, and then come talk to me to see how good the freaking damn New England Patriots really are. They're a bunch of horrible pieces of garbage. And I'm getting sick and tired of it because they never play anybody worthy. So unfortunately, I have to take the Patriots.
Patriots as well. The Browns, they're not as good as they look on paper. I knew it from the beginning. They usually just never works out. You got this, like I said, for Madden, you get this team of 99 overalls. That doesn't mean you're going to just win, because this is real life. You got all these superstars, all these egos,
All the money.
The only one that's good is Nick Chubb and Myles Garrett. Those are the only two that are superstars.
Oh yeah, but like I said, I understand that, but this is a team who not last year went 0-16, or was that 2 years ago? Was that 2 years ago? Or was that last year?
That was 2 years ago. Last year they went either.
It was still a losing 3-13, wasn't it? The Browns were that high?
Yeah.
Oh.
I think they were almost 9-7 last year.
But they're still putting the pieces together. Baker Mayfield still has a little way to go yet. It's better than freaking DeKaiser. I don't want to get into that. I don't know. No, but
last year they were 7-8-1.
They were 7-8-1. Oh, that's right, because they tied the Steelers in the first game of the season. That's right. Yeah, 7-8-1. So, yeah, like I said, there's different definitions of rebuilding. There's the Browns version of rebuilding, and then there's the Dolphins version of rebuilding, or demolition, I should say. But I give the Browns another season. If they keep what they got going on right now, I see good things coming out of Cleveland. And I'm not saying that, again, because I lived in Ohio for it. Now I was born a Cleveland Browns fan, really. But I do see a lot of good things coming out of Cleveland. And I say within 2 to 3 years, if they can keep these guys and keep bringing in the talent that they are, definitely a playoff team. Definitely an AFC North champion. I can definitely see that happening. So it's going to be interesting for the next few seasons. I'm curious to see what's going to happen if they can stay consistent. Next up, we have the Raiders and the Texans. I don't know what's been going on with these Raiders. We want to talk about inconsistency. It's like for 2 games they play great. For the next 3 they play like shit. For the next 2 they come back and they play awesome. It's just that inconsistency issue. And this is John Gruden, of all people, that we're talking about here. Mr. King shit. Who not in 2008. Well, that's another story. I'm not even going to go there either because that's going to piss it, because it has to do with the Patriots. You already know what I'm talking about. So Gruden, my boy, I don't know what you guys got to figure out the issues on the consistency problem. If you guys can get that consistency, you'll be right back up there, winning. But I don't know what's going on. The Texans, on the other hand, I mean, yeah, you lost Jalen Ramsey, but it doesn't matter. They're still winning. The Texans are a better team still. So I'm going with the Texans over the Raiders.
Raiders over the Texans. Because there's a reason why Josh Jacobs was taken as the first running back of this draft class. And so I'm picking the Raiders because their rushing offense is fantastic right now. It is, going really well. Derek Carr, I wouldn't say I don't like him. I'd more say I'm not too big of a fan of him. I really don't think he's all that everyone makes him cracked out to be. If anything, I think he's a serviceable backup, but, they insist on playing him, so that's not my choice. I don't make millions of dollars or, make executive decisions like that. I just do a podcast with my buddy Larry, and, we hope that people watch it because we want people to enjoy our content. We like talking and watching about football. So I'm picking the Raiders.
Fair enough. I have to say that it's not that Derek Carr is not an NFL quarterback. He's just the AFC version of James Winston with the inconsistency issues, figuring out one minute you're hot, 1 minute you're cold, 1 minute you're hot, 1 minute you're cold. And like I said, it's the whole consistency issue. It's not just for just one team. It's for the whole NFL. If you're inconsistent, you're not going to win games. If you're inconsistent, you're going to be 8-8. Mathematically, you're going to be 8-8 or worse. If you can hit that consistency and you do the same thing over and over, this isn't just NFL. This is life. This is work. This is your job. If you do the same thing every day and you do it the right way, you're going to win over and over and over and over and over again. You're going to do a good job. You're going to put a great effort in and good performance, and you're consistent, and you go and you go and you go. You do, you get. Every time. Exactly. Every time. If they would work out these bugs, this would be very interesting to see what would happen, but I don't know. I guess, like I said, it's about how deep everybody's pocketbook is because it's all script. Either way you look at it, it's all fixed, so no matter what. But now we are going on to my upset, and there's going to be a good reason why. The Packers and the Chiefs. I'm going with the Packers over the Chiefs because of the fact Patrick Mahomes is out 3 weeks. I don't remember who his backup is. His backup didn't do that bad of a job, but it's not. I don't. Matt Moore. Yes, that's it. Thank you. But that's going to be my upset. I'm taking the Packers over the Chiefs just because they're going to be missing out on Patrick Mahomes.
I unfortunately am going to go with the Packers as well. The only reason why is because, for some reason everyone just wants to, ride Aaron Rodgers to the Old Town Road. And, then there's also the fact that the Packers, signed the refs to a 10-year, $135 million contract. So, they definitely have the whole league on their side. So, picking the Packers because, the NFL is going to say, we want the Packers to win because we want them to make this miracle Super Bowl run, which it's not even a miracle. They're just beating bad teams, except for the Lions. The Lions aren't a bad team. I don't know what they are. But they're not a bad team. They're not a good team. They're not even a decent, mediocre team. But they're not a horrible team. They're not a great team. They're a team.
They're a team. That's it. And finally, for probably what is going to be the worst Monday night game ever in history, the Miami Dolphins at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Oh, my God. Danny already said no Miami, so he's got the Steelers on it. This is just gonna be bottom line disaster. This is gonna be one of the worst Monday Night Football games I've ever seen. If I do see it, I don't know. I why would they think it would be a good idea to put the Miami Dolphins in a Monday night game? Yeah, but we both obviously have the Steelers. Watch Miami win it. I swear to God, I'm going to be so I'm going to. That's what I'm saying. Watch them friggin' win like 38-0.
Oh, I was gonna say like 137 to like 2.
But it's like, oh my God, who in their right mind thought, hey, let's put the friggin' Miami Dolphins against the Pittsburgh Steelers on Monday night? What? That's just horrible. I mean, why? Who in their right mind would spend their Monday night watching the Dolphins and Steelers game? I mean, I understand the Pittsburgh fans, obviously. Pittsburgh fans are diehard Pittsburgh fans. So,
Man, the Dolphins tickets are like $2 now or something like that.
I heard they're giving away in raffles.
Yeah, they're not even just giving them away in raffles. They're just like, hey, you want a Dolphins ticket? People are like, no, we'll pay you.
Exactly. You know, they should make a movie like that, just like they did with Major League, about the Cleveland Indians on how shitty they were. They need to make a Miami Dolphin game, Miami Dolphin movie now. Major League football version with the Miami Dolphins. I hate to laugh because we've been there. You know, we were 0-16, all these losing seasons, no playoffs. And, you know, as of right now, we're going to be there again. But anyway, I feel so bad for the Dolphin fans. I really do, because we feel your pain. We've been there. And it's so sad to see because, again, growing up, I was like all AFC. I was AFC all the way because that was our division, the AFC North now. And they always played AFC games. Once in a while I'll catch a Lions game in Ohio, you know, if they played like Monday Night Football or Sunday Night Football, whatever. And yeah, but mainly I was an AFC fan. And seeing these Dolphins, just the legacy that the Dolphins had to now, and it's just so heartbreaking to see this. I bet Dan Marino's like, what the hell is this? Yeah, come out of retirement, Dan. I know you can probably still throw the football. You're better than anybody out there. Bring Dan Marino back for a couple games or something, man. It's just, oh my God, I don't know what the hell. It's such a waste. They might as well just get rid of the Dolphins and make it a 31-team league or something. I don't know. But yeah, like I said, it's the Steelers all the way. And that is going to wrap up our picks for the week. So, we are already at an hour and 15 minutes. So much for that half hour, 45-minute crap. So, is there anything you want to add before we sign off, sir?
The only thing is that I am exhausted, and I'm probably going to get my wisdom teeth taken out. So on that note, my name's Danny Waiter.
I'm Larry Szynski. You guys have a good week, and we will talk at you again, what is that, Monday or Tuesday night. So, I don't want to steal the line from Danny, so I will say adios, muchachos, and
make sure you take it for a touchdown. Have a good night.